Hi everyone, welcome back to Canary Cast. Norwich have done it. They've run out 2-1 winners away at Rotherham. Penalty from Jordan Hugill, his first goal for the club, of course.
Jordan Hugill.
Yeah. It felt a bit sort of. We were lucky to get the win, really, in the end, Jacob.
Yes, I don't know what world we win that game, but you know what? As soon as you see Jordan Hugill stepping up in that interesting penalty, if he misses that, he looks like an idiot, doesn't he? But he's somehow put Jamal Blackman the wrong way, who played well in the game, didn't he? Makes a great save. And Rotherham will feel very hard done by, but in brute honesty, I don't support Rotherham, so I don't care. It's a massive win.
Yeah, if someone had offered me that scrappy win away from home before the game, I'd have taken it anyway. So happy days. Right, let's start with the selection from Daniel Farke today, because it was quite an interesting starting 11, really, wasn't it?
Very different. We kind of all, messaging you, messaging other people, it was like, wow, this is a surprise, but a nice surprise. Teemu Pukki was rested for Finland, wasn't he, in one of their games, and you're thinking maybe he just wasn't fully on it. Yeah. And it's nice to see Hugill, against a big centre-back. Either on the wing, I know Platt is injured, and obviously Onel is now, so probably it was him or Josh Martin, and you've got to say Adam is the first choice out of those two. It didn't really work, did it, all in all? But it was a positive side to see it changed, and Daniel Farke being proactive.
Yeah, you could see what he was trying to do, couldn't you? Because Rotherham, there's not many players under 6 foot on that Rotherham side, and I think it was important to match them up in that regard. And there was probably 2 or 3 occasions in the end where even on a defensive set piece, Jordan Hugill's size helped win the header or whatever. And to be fair to Daniel Farke, I don't think his game plan worked that well, but I do think he got the selection right.
Yeah, it's just I don't see Adam either as a winger, mate. Again, it's going to be a struggle because obviously now Daniel Farke said it in his own press conference, he didn't get an extra centre back. If we had, I'm just going to keep banging the drum. If we had 3 centre backs today, 2 wing back, you then deal with Ladapo, who was a threat, wasn't he? Yeah. I said in the preview of Harvey that he would be a threat. He's just a gangly striker who has got pace and is just awkward to play against, isn't he? But you have 3 centre backs against him, then you sort that out. You have the wing backs as high as they usually are, and then you have 2 just central players. Eder and Hugill would have probably caused more issues, but the problem is we started Jordan Hugill. Fantastic. We've been crossing it here, there, and everywhere. We had 3 crosses in the first half. 2 were from corners and 1 were from Jordan Hugill. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we not playing to his strengths? When you do play to his strengths again in the second half, he wins headers. He wins things in there. He's a pain in the arse to defend against.
Yeah, and the own goal, the first goal for Norwich, that highlighted that. We'll go on to it, but it was the first real time we'd put together a move. But just Aaron's first time whipping the ball in, and of course it causes mayhem in the box, and he heads it in his own net.
Emmy as well, wasn't it? That's the difference. He's still not fully fit, so he didn't play that well in the first half. I was surprised. I forgot he was playing. Second half, he grew into it a little bit more. That lovely ball to Max. That's just the difference he has at this level. A wonderful ball in from Max. That's what I want to see from him. We've said that so many times, haven't we? Not a floater in the air, but that bullet across, which is so impossible for a Hickway to defend. And like you say, Hugill's kind of putting his body in, isn't he? If you definitely are putting it in your own net, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I was glad Aaron's got an assist because there were a couple of crosses in the first half, just little ones where he'd cut it back. He'd done one for Emmy. It was a weird height. Emmy got the shot off, saved from Blackman, and then the other one put it on a plate for Stephen, and Stephen scuffed it wide, unfortunately. But yeah, the only other thing I wanted to talk about with selection was Skip and Rupp, because that looks quite defensive on paper, but actually, and I know we've slated him, but Lucas Rupp had a good game, didn't he?
I think he played really well against Derby as well. We said it, didn't we? It's difficult to know what it completely offers, but I think you've got to remember he's not a Mario Vrancic. He's not a Moritz Leitner now. You've got to kind of put them out of your mind. Mario Vrancic is not going to start a game in this division because of his fitness and his running. He can't play a full 90 minutes. A Moritz Leitner, for whatever reason, is not going to be. He's not going to be in this squad again, unfortunately, unless there's a real severity in terms of injury. So Lucas Rupp does what he does well. He covers the ground really well. I think that's what we kind of forget about him. He has a good ending on him, and he's getting a good run of games in his actual position. He was a scapegoat last season. He's never a right midfielder. That's Daniel Farke's fault for making it that scapegoat, really, putting him out of position because he's not an attacking midfielder. I think against teams at home who are going to drop deep, I think I was surprised by Rotherham and how they pressed. But with teams that drop deep, so when we play the likes of Wickham soon, it's going to be more of a struggle with those two, isn't it? Because then we need to create chances. But fair play to Lucas. He completely deserves it. It's not fashionable to like him. You know what? He's just doing a bloody good job in there.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the game itself. And the first thing we've got to discuss is the early goal for Rotherham. Tim Krul passes it out wide to Aarons, who, to be fair, he didn't even go for the header. It was easily out jumped and didn't win the header. And that was a theme in the first half, actually. Quintilla and Aarons both losing out in the air quite a bit. I think they were probably targeted. The ball works its way back into the box, and you could tell Grant Hanley hadn't started a game already this season because he was flat-footed, really, wasn't he?
Yeah. I had a listen to an interview with Paul Warren beforehand, and he was like, "This season we're not the hunted." So obviously last season they were League One and teams were coming for them. They're the hunters. So as soon as I listened to that today, I was like, "Okay, they're going to go for this. They're really going to go in hard and press high," and they did. That's all you got to do against Norwich, really, isn't it? If you press them high enough, we saw it numerous times in the Premier League last season. It's just a fluffy, nothing, shitty ball from Krul, isn't it? Which, if the fullback's free, it's fine. It's a good pass. But when he's got, again, like you said, all of the Rotherham team are 6 foot plus. Like Max Aaron has no chance there, and like you say, Grant is so flat-footed. And to be fair, again, it's going to take him a few games. He hasn't had a pre-season. He's come straight into it, and I really love Grant Hanley just for the passion and the love he has for his football in this club. So he will improve 100%. But yeah, he's flat-footed, and well, Adapo, it's a good finish, to be fair to him. He shouldn't miss, but at this level, you have seen strikers miss, haven't you? And it's good. It's a good finish from him.
You mentioned Rotherham's pressing there, and they did do that really well. But there were opportunities for Norwich, plenty of them. Blackman made 3 or 4, maybe even 5 decent saves first half from loads of Norwich players. Emmy, Ida probably could have done better with a couple of them. But yeah, he had a decent half. But then Rotherham get a penalty. Ida trips, I think it was Clark Robertson. Just a bit of a sort of a lazy foul. He just sticks his leg in between his legs and trips him.
The striker's challenge back there on the wing. It's a pain for him to kind of be there, really. For me, I know you say we're creating chances. I think that was because Rotherham was so high and pushing so high. I didn't see the fluency again. It came together more in the second half, didn't it? We clicked a little bit better. Buendia kind of came into the game. But it's still just like, I'm not really sure what we're doing. You know, Hugel's in there, but we're not crossing to him, which seems odd because we've crossed all the other times. You've got to utilise your players' strengths. And when we do that, this is the most frustrating thing. When we do that with Jordan Hugill, he wins headers. I can't remember a header where he's easily been beaten. If he has been beaten, he's given the defender an elbow or something in the back, a little kick or something, just to make it awkward for them. And that's what you need to do with him. You need to kind of play to his strengths 100%. I know we're used to a team with Pukki, but Hugo's not going to be running in behind, is he? He's not a quick striker. If you hold it up to it or get him to hold it up and then have a man off him, perfect. But yeah, for me, it's still not quite clicking, but this result is huge for the confidence in all of it, isn't it?
Agreed. I think I was watching it on iFollow, so obviously I had the Chris Gorham commentary, and I thought you made a great point at half time. And he said, well, Rotherham are 1-0 up, and I don't know whether to say that it could have been much worse or it could have been much better, because Rotherham had plenty of chances, but so did we. And then we come out the second half, and I do think we looked noticeably wider. I'd imagine Daniel Farke would have said something at half time along the lines of, look, get the ball out wide and put the ball on Jordan's head.
No, 100%. And like I say, it worked. Like for the goal, he was as effective as he could be in that situation. He wasn't going to get the ball from Max Aarons' cross, but you know what? He's put a Hickway under so much pressure. He's had to stick it in his own net, and that's all you can do. It's a massive. I'm really starting to like him. I wasn't sure about the transfer when we got him. Thought it's a bit of Cameron Jerome. He's actually more of a Grant Holt because he's got that character about him, hasn't he? Where he's just like, you'd hate to play against him, but when he's in your team, you love him.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. There was also a disallowed goal for Steepman. Lovely ball in from Quintilla, just floated it over the last line of the defence. And he done that on a few occasions, actually, Quintilla. And I know he's got defensive work to do, Jacob, but I actually really like the look of Quintilla. Again,
this is a big part of what do we do if we don't go up. This is why going up is so key, because if we don't go up, you don't keep Xavi Quintilla, you don't keep Ben Gibson. And those two, again, I thought Gibson for his second game back again was as solid as he can be, really. I know there was a few kind of limbs and legs all over from set pieces, but he's a leader, isn't he? You can hear him on that pitch. Like if you turn the commentary off when we're next on the TV, you'll be able to hear Ben Gibson and Tim Krul as the main voices. And I'd love to keep them too. I think again this is the frustration of why we're not crossing Jordan Hugill, because Quintier's got that quality. I think he crosses it a little bit too early at times for me. I know he likes the early cross, but I'd like to see what he did. I know he doesn't have the pace that Max does, but maybe get a little bit closer to the byline, because then he has probably more people actually in the box than just Jordan Hugill, but his deliveries are spot on. And to be fair to him, for a player that we've got from Villarreal who haven't seemed surplus to requirements, and Jamal Lewis was so good for us, 100 appearances in 3 seasons, it's big shoes to fill, and I think he's done that very well. Like you say, he still does have defensive kind of issues to iron out, but hopefully he stays fit, because this is his position. We haven't got anyone else to really put there, so hopefully he stays fit and only continues to improve.
We've mentioned both Aarons and Quintier and how they were great going forward. And I actually wanted to make a point about the defence as a whole now, because we had a conversation about it on Twitter before the game. And I was saying, look, I know there's problems. I know Hanley hasn't played a lot. I know Gibson hasn't played a lot. I know Quintier has defensive issues and Aarons could be off in Jan. But on paper, just on paper, I know there's frailties in, reality, but on paper, that looks like a quality Championship back four to me.
Yeah, just the way they play kind of will always leave those defenders open, won't it? Same with Tim Krul. Like that penalty save is the turning point eventually. Like if we go 2-0 down there, we're not coming back, not with our confidence. And that's why this is such a big thing. We said that Norwich should go up with the caveat, and me and you definitely both said this so many times over pre-season, is that the mentality is the biggest thing Daniel Farke has to do. With this squad, tactics-wise, if he probably still needs to kind of iron those things out, but really we should be beating most teams in this division if we're on it, and that's the thing. If the players are feeling confident, and that's Daniel Farke's huge thing. This is a massive one. I can't remember the last time we bloody picked up a win from behind. I know we beat Drew to Preston, but then last season we didn't pick up a single point from going behind. So for mentality-wise, not a great performance, but the good sides win ugly when they're not playing well, and that's the biggest thing I could take away from today.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first goal again. I know we mentioned it, but it was the first time in the match where it was a nice little move, 1-2 touch passing, and we really, really honestly did force the error from them in terms of the own goal. The rest of the game was quite lethargic and, too many touches, and Mark Rivers was making that point on commentary constantly, if anything. But it was great to just have a little flashback to sort of 18-19 and just cutting through Championship teams.
That's the thing, isn't it? Daniel Farke's possession-based style is so reliant on a team feeling confident enough to be able to go and do that, be able to not take an extra safe touch, rather ping it in, do the dangerous pass. If you lose it, okay, we'll go and hunt it back. The tempo at the moment is still so far too slow. Rotherham again kind of capitalised on that, didn't they, with the high press, and that's how they scored their goal. It's just so lethargic. It's just such a rubbish ball out, and we just have to get that. Emi Buendia is going to be different level when he's match fit. Again, he's provided a fantastic ball for the first goal, won the penalty for the second goal, and he's not even 60% fit yet. Yeah. If he gets fully on it, and I don't think Stiepermann's there yet either. I think he needs, once he gets to match fitness and he's again as effective as he could be 2 years ago, then you've got a real core base there. They're the two most important players really in that system, aren't they? Because they are the ones to take on the kind of mantelpiece of playing the risky passes, cutting the lines, creating the space for other players to then move through. Those two are so key. And hopefully once they get match fit, Norwich will look a lot better. This is a huge win for Daniel Farke though. If we lose today, we're making a completely different video saying writing's on the wall. But that shows that the team are playing for him. They show that they want to win games, and Jordan Hugill has to start again for me in midweek because he just gives that extra something, doesn't he? And you know what? Go on. Sorry.
He's just a pain in the arse. He's brilliant at it. He is.
And I love Timo Pukki. We both love Timo Pukki.
Yeah.
I'd love to see both up front together. Maybe Pukki dropping off slightly in that number 10. But it's difficult. It's difficult to kind of keep them both together. If you drop Jordan Hugill now, which I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Farke does, I think that kind of takes momentum from today. You've got to keep him up front now. Change a couple of other areas. I'd like to see players back in. I know he's not that fully fit, so that's why we didn't really see him. I'd like to see him on the left wing, kind of giving us a bit of pace again, whipping it into you, but just being a little bit more direct, because you know what, that's how he's going to score and be the biggest pain he can be.
There was, of course, a red card for Rotherham. Angus MacDonald got sent off for a fairly nasty two-footer on Ollie Skip, and luckily he didn't really seem to pick up an injury, but he did definitely get a knock on the knee. Definite red card for me, Jacob. I don't know if you disagree.
No, I'm 100% in agreement with you, mate. He's gone in for the first one with Hugo, hasn't he? Kind of been, they've kind of had a little scuffle there, and he's just gone in, and it's aggression, isn't it? It is aggression. It's just a nasty challenge. I'm sure he's not really like that, Angus MacDonald. I don't know if you know yourself, but he's come over so many adversities with cancer, and he's had cancer in so many places, and it's brilliant to see him back at football, but that's a horrible challenge. And it's just great to see Ollie Skip's absolutely fine. He's a warrior again. In that level, I don't think there's too much difference between him and Lucas Rupp. I think he's a little bit better on the ball, but it's great to see that he's kind of coming accustomed to that. You could easily get a Premier League loanee who doesn't really fancy that midfield kind of battle, but he does, and he's going to be key until the rest of the season. Hopefully, if we keep him after January and we're kind of in and around those top 6 places, he'll be key.
Let's hope so. The red card did feel like a turning point in the game. They usually are. Do you think we would have gone on to win that had they not gone down to 10 men?
I think we struggled with the 10 men again. I don't think we created really that many chances after it. It felt like a struggle today. It was such a difficult task. But you know what Rotherham away is? It was a couple of years ago. It's coming. I think it's slowly coming. But that first half was woeful. Second half gave me a lot more belief today. And the win is just so huge. If you draw that game, you feel again frustrated. It's like, is it going to happen? That you cannot underestimate how big this win is just for the confidence, which is what Norwich are lacking so clearly in their play. Midweek, you kind of think, okay, tactics-wise, Daniel Farke's not going to be able to do a lot in training, is he? A couple of days, unless he has, Monday, Tuesday, or it's a difficult one, really, isn't it? I think this is just a huge win for confidence, and we just need to go again.
Yeah, it does feel big. Before we wrap up, let's just talk about subs, because we always do with Daniel Farke. 79th minute, Skip comes off, Vrancic on, Steepman off, Pukki on. And, okay, maybe they were a bit late, but we had just scored an equaliser, so I get it. But I think they were spot on. I agreed completely with the subs that he made.
Yeah, 10 minutes is still far too short a time to have Mario Vrancic have a real effect on the game. He cries out for a 65th, 60 minutes. I know that it's only 10, 15 minutes, but that's an extra 10, 15 minutes he gets to fully get his grasp on the game, doesn't he? And Rotherham had kind of tired out by then, hadn't they? The press wasn't as high. They were kind of happy with the point, they're holding their lead. And then obviously they cut that. I think they still need to be early, mate. It's still frustrating. But like you say, they are the correct moves. I think, again, the Vrancic thing did influence the game. They'd influence it better and more if they had more time. That's the only issue there. I'd quite like to have seen Plaheta as well. I'd have been frustrated really because of his pace. I think we need to look at Adam Eder, because on the wing, I know we've debated ourselves. He does cause a threat, but you made a great point a couple of videos ago when he comes on. From the start, I don't think he's not a winger, so it's impossible to really judge him. But again, he's going to be playing there a lot because Onell's injured, and it's between Josh Martin, Plaheta and Eder for that role now, really.
Yeah, in regards to Vrancic, I can't remember who made the point. I don't know whether it was Chris Gorham or Mark Rivers. I can't remember now, but they said when Vrancic is on the pitch, all the other Norwich players are quite happy to just give him the ball and let him create something. And to my mind, that's enough to start him again in midweek. Would you take a punt on him midweek?
Yeah, I find the difficulty with Mario Vrancic. Obviously, he can't play a full 90 minutes. I'd rather have him on the start of the game and then take him off after 60 rather than have him on for 10. Because, like you say, it takes him time to get into the game. I don't think he's that much of a kind of loose cannon where he's going to cause us an issue anywhere, really, because he's accustomed to the Championship. He knows if he's not fully on the game, he can still get a tackle in. When he first started, that was definitely not the case. I could 100% see why he wasn't playing. And his legs aren't there, but we're dominating the ball most of the time now, aren't we? And again, in midweek, I think we will dominate the ball in pretty much every game this season. So I think he should start. Yeah, 100%. It's difficult. Do you then drop Marco Steepman? Because I don't know if he's going to be fully recovering after just a couple of days rest after such a long layoff. But then you miss that number 10. But then again, I like Lucas Rupp and Ollie Skip at the moment. I think they're doing a decent enough job. So it's a nice selection headache. But I would like to see him because, like you say, he's the only player in our squad. Let's be honest, who can dictate the play. And like you say, Pookie makes more runs when Vrancic is on the ball and sort of things like that. They just know they're clever enough players and have enough experience to know, right, he's the one that can give us that chance out of nothing. So yeah, for me, he's too good to leave out.
Yeah. Just on Lucas real quickly before we wrap up, I was watching it with my brother, and I don't know if you've seen Prison Break, but he said he looks exactly like Teabag.
That's a brilliant one.
Yeah.
We'll leave it on that because people will be able to kind of relate. But yeah, no, 100%. It just makes him look. He seems like such a nice guy as well, Lucas. I'm really happy that he's getting a place in his proper position now and kind of nailing it down. And if anyone kind of has a go at him now, you can't. It's then a vendetta, isn't it? Because you know what, he's justified his position there. He doesn't. You've got to get it out of your head, like we said earlier in the video. He's not going to be a Mario Vrancic. He's not going to be a Moritz Leitner. What he does well, he passes sideways and a little bit forwards, tidy enough as it is. I think that's the only difference I'd make there is maybe take him off if things aren't working from that too, because they're important as well in the Daniel Farke system, aren't they? In terms of getting the tempo going. So I think a bit of a quicker substitution with one of those two for a Mario, for example, would be a lot better.
Yeah, fair play to Lucas Rook. We've given him some stick, but he has had a really good game today. Fair play. We will happily hold our hands up when we're wrong. Right, so that was it. Jordan Hugill, fine, just tucked in the penalty, and it was a very, very scrappy win. Rotherham will feel harsh and harshly done by there, but it doesn't matter. It's the Championship. It's a long old slog, and we've got 3 points today. Jacob, anything else to mention, mate?
I think you've just been. It's a slog, and you know what? You're never going to play well for 46 games. We haven't played well for any of the first few games of the season, but you know what? A win's a win, and it looks a lot healthier now. We have to then go and follow it up though, because you know what? It's now Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. All of that kind of all games in 3 days. Have to follow it up with a better performance. That second half was better, still not fully there, but I'd like to see that improvement, and hopefully we can talk about another win.
Yeah, let's hope so. The game's coming thick and fast now. We will soon be back with you. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the game yourself. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your week.
Laters.